1923 and actually before, about 1906 to 1909, and then 1920, they had various lawsuits and cases, so this got realigned and different things happened, but on this USGS map, what's important is the federal government determined that the channel should run and stop here, and this is their mark there for fresh water that comes down is let go into the freshwater wetlands that was already existing. It did not go through like it does now into the marina. See, now it goes, and then the high and low tides come up it. Before, see the difference right here? Right at area A, right here, you can see that creek line. And so the original Ballona Creek was here, then they channeled it, but they still dumped the fresh water here. They did not mix it or inundate this with more salt water like they want to do in Alternative 1, 2, and 3. This is about fresh water. So they want to rip all this out and then have that be saltwater treated, and it was never like that. And what's important about this video and what I'm explaining is that it shows that this was fresh water before, but it was made purposely freshwater restored again by the freshwater restoration of the channel. So they can't say that they're restoring anything. If they're going to restore it, it should be to this alignment and this source of water, which we can get from Playa Vista's freshwater right here. In the EIS, we have to go for the freshwater alternative. The Army Corps made this determination, so they can't get permits to tear in the 408 scheme they made with the county and the 404 with the Fish and Wildlife and the BWER here to change it into salt water. It's just fraud. This green area is all going to be in salt water because we know the tides go up to 10 feet. On that, it's quite a bit of material, 6 to 9 million cubic yards of material. This is all fresh water here. Centinela Creek's right here. Water went this way, it went this way. You know, it mingled and created, that's the estuary mingled there. But this area A part, you know, it's fresh water. I'm going to show you what was not shown by the Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission, Bay Foundation, the Coastal Conservancy. They used the T-sheets for their agenda, but they didn't show what I'm going to show you. This is the original. The ones that were added by a research team that made it more accurate, but those were not used if it didn't help the Conservancy and the bulldozing, saltwater inundation. When you look at this, here is the Ballona Creek and another stream, just to give you some bearing. And it shows this open water section, and the green is vegetated wetland. The information wasn't used properly or accurately, and it was only used by the Coastal Conservancy and them and Bay Foundation to shore up their agenda. I think it was a flat with just fresh water that would hold like a pond. You see where this is fresh water, it doesn't add up that this would be tidal, nor does this, because here's the fresh water from the creek. I think the fresh water was actually coming down that way. It was intertidal, but it wasn't tidally influenced, so I think they've got it labeled wrong. But when you look at it that way, it still doesn't justify what they're saying with this being open water, and here having the rest of it be vegetated wetland. It's not supported by the conclusions of salt water. I'm hoping that you folks look at this, you'll see what we're looking at and the reasons why it should be left as a freshwater alternative, not bulldozed, not saltwater inundated, and have this be a feature of restoration, like I put in my video. I think we can have a pump station here where this dumps into the Ballona Creek channel, and then have the water cleaned up so it's usable and more natural, and then redistribute it appropriately in these areas. A lot of the reports that were done for the Ballona Wetlands Ecological Reserve EIS and EIR didn't have these details, and they didn't use the coloring. So that's why I thought it was important to do this. The freshwater alternative that I came up with, which is a blue and a green arrangement that would work there with one pipeline. This is the pipeline. We would have a pump station running through a Driscoll line, probably about a 4-inch diameter line, and it would run all the way through and have sprinklers and rainbird larger sprinklers, so it pretty much cover all the area. This graphic is the trees on area A. You can see the water coming from the freshwater pipeline would go through there and then feed all this, like I explained. And all these palms and all the cleanup from SoCal Gas would have to happen to get their and Sempre to get their oil infrastructure out and cleaned up. I'm just kind of flying around and showing you the kind of how it would look in different places. What kind of looked before and what it looks like, what it looked like after we got the fresh water in there. It's a huge difference. But it would be a big increase in habitat and then of course the animals and all that. And that would be the best way to restore that area A. And it also can include parts of B. But for them to use this and have the artist draw this in a deceptive manner, show their pattern and behavior, just expressing my opinion. You folks can look at the information inside here. So this is on the view blockage of the levees that they don't have any graphics on, so I've made these as I put here. And that applies to all of it that I'm showing you. This way is the Fiji Way. So the open space will be locked. This is on Fiji Way, right near the end, 20 feet right here. So you will not see from Fiji Way the wetlands anymore either. Jefferson and where it hits Culver, that view will be gone forever. It's First Amendment protection for flight. This is a violation of the Coastal Act. They can't obstruct views in the coastal zone. So you will not see the wetlands anymore. That we should have a freshwater alternative, which we're working on here. So these lines right here are the levees, and they're cutting out the existing channel from here all the way to here. But you will not see the wetlands anymore. These levees are 25 to 30 feet above the road. This is a grading plan for alternative 1. The main grading is going to be in area A, which is across here. That's where the channel would be now, and then all that material from Lincoln to Fiji Way all the way around, basically around the south end of the marina. And then they're going to carve out and excavate and apparently remount it. They're going to leave SoCal Gas's thing here for some reason. Me personally, that was Mary Small and some other people at a meeting about almost 9 years ago, that they were planning on selling the dirt to the port, so the port could build larger shipberths in the San Pedro Bay. They use steel, Tubman steel, corrugated, and then they pump out the water and they fill it with dirt and they create a big shipberth. They've done those before. They're basically artificial islands. But I have plans that show their haul routes and how they're going to barge it down the channel and then tugboat it to San Pedro and the port of LA. But because that's the only way they would get that much dirt. The report's calculations are just under 3 million cubic yards. So a cubic yard is a yard cubed. If you picture that much material, they're talking about 3 million of those. And basically, that's a square mile 10 feet tall of dirt, if you want to do your own math.